Right, just looking back at the tape, kind of, what I talked to you guys about yesterday. Extremely disappointing. Obviously, the chunk plays we gave up, the turnovers, the kickoff return to start the third quarter. Um, can't have it, and got to get those things cleaned up. And we got 1 week left against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
James.
Shane, looking back on the season, benching AR because he, I guess, wasn't focused enough. Zaire getting into a spat with Pat McAfee about a podcast. A few other things along the way. Do you think your team has a culture problem?
I don't. I think you're going to go through adversity in seasons, James. There's going to be ups and downs, whether it's on the field, off the field, and how you handle them and how you react to them. And you got to move forward with those things. I think it happens around the league, to teams, and you got to handle it the best way you can handle it and put your best foot forward.
And then one follow up. I know you mentioned raising the standard. Others have mentioned that as well. Leaders on the team. What is the current standard of this team?
I think the standard is come to work every day and give it everything you got. You know what I mean? I talked about character, preparation, consistency, and relentless. And I think, when you're not winning and you don't reach the playoffs like you want to, I think obviously things are going to get nitpicked, and rightfully so. And everyone wants to be in the playoffs every year, and that's the standard, is to get in the playoffs. And we didn't reach our goal this year. And that's the disappointing part about this whole thing. But we got 1 week left to go out and do our jobs.
Bob.
Yeah, Shane, I don't know if you saw Pat McAfee's post-game tweet or if you were made aware of it, but he talked about players showing up late for treatment, for meetings. He wondered about the accountability. Is that true? Buck suggested that it was an issue at times throughout the season.
Yeah, I think with any team, right? Not everyone's going to be on time every time, but there is accountability, and guys are held to a standard, and that is talked about in house. And I don't think that. And I think, with anything, I think Pat, he's a former alumni that wants to see the Colts do well, just like all our fans want us to do well. And when the standard isn't, not getting in the playoffs, it's frustrating. So it's frustrating for a lot of people, myself included. And that's why we talk about the standard just being raised, so we're not, in these situations.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Nate.
Hey, Shane, do you have any update on where Anthony's at in his recovery from the back spasms? And if he's able to go, do you plan to play him on Sunday, or does it change at all not having the playoffs on the line?
Yeah, we'll see how the week progresses. I know he's in here, getting treatment today. He's feeling a little better, so we'll see how it goes. Nate.
Kevin.
Shane, why do you guys think you've been such a bad tackling team this season?
It's a great question. I think obviously that's something I'm going to look back at hard. We got to do a great job. I talked about it, the last couple of weeks, the strike zone tackling, the open field tackling, just finishing certain things. But yeah, we got to look at that and get it cleaned up.
You've had plenty of kind of public praise for Gus. What is it about his system that you like?
I mean, like I said, Kevin, he's been doing it for a long time. And he brings great energy to those players. I've known Gus over the years. His system, the way he teaches it. Obviously, things haven't been perfect. We all know that, and we haven't been perfect on offense, haven't been perfect on a lot of areas. But yeah, we'll go through that. We'll look at the system. We'll look at the scheme. And we'll have those conversations at the end of the year.
Joel.
Ultimately, with a defense, who do you place responsibility for the entire unit's tackling on?
I think it's not just one guy, Joel. I'm not going to replace responsibility on certain one person. I think it's the ultimate team game, and it takes everyone to be on the same page to do their job.
Kent.
Hey, Shane, you mentioned cleaning it up. If things go awry in week 17, how do you go about cleaning them up for week 18?
Yeah, I think, you go back to work, Kent, and the biggest thing you can do is control your control. And that's in the meetings, and that's on the practice field. And if you got to get things cleaned up, we've talked about getting it cleaned up, and you work to strive to get them cleaned up every single week. You know, as professionals, coaches, and athletes, you try to get those things cleaned up as best you can.
Andrew?
Hey, Shane, I know you've already talked about Pat's post a little bit, but it's not just Pat. There's other former players that have said things over the last 24 hours, the fans as well. Do you feel their frustration? And I guess just big picture wise, what's your message to them and this fan base on how things can turn around?
Yeah, I completely understand their frustration. You know, when things aren't going the right way and you're not winning football games in this league, there's going to be frustrations from everybody, you know. And the biggest thing is the guys, everyone in this locker room, every one of these coaches is doing their jobs to the best of their abilities and coming into work every single day to making sure you're trying to get better at your job every single day.
Chap?
Yeah, Shane, it's just sort of a side note, but is there an importance for Juju just to get out there this week just so that you're not going to get into the offseason not knowing how he is? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be great for him to get out there. We'll see how the week progresses, but if he's able to get out there, it'd be awesome to have him out there, chap, for sure.
Do a couple more. James?
Shane, just following up with some of the guys in the locker room, they were saying details, I guess, is what they have lacked this season. Why do you think that's kind of plagued this team? That was one thing that Buck said. Pitt was saying others as well.
Yeah, no, I think this game is all about details, and if you're off just a few inches or a few yards, that could be the difference in the game. And sometimes you get away with those things, but if they happen over and over again, you know, it's going to be a problem, and that's why the details matter so much, and that's why you have the meetings, and that's why you have the walkthroughs and the practices to make sure you clean up those details, so you know they don't come back and bite you in the butt. And clearly they've bought us in the butt a little bit this year. And that's why we got to get those things cleaned up.
And one follow up. Have you had discussions with Jim Irsay? We haven't heard from him, but just what's his level of frustration with what's going on?
Yeah, me and Mr. Irsay, we talk, you know, weekly, but I'll keep those conversations private.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take our last question. Kevin?
Shane, just to clarify on Anthony, if healthy, he will start.
Yeah, if he's healthy and he feels good to go, we'll have those conversations at the end of the week. Yeah.